According to World Atlas, the US is the second largest producer of beer in the world. It makes approximately 22 million kiloliters of beer per year, which is a lot of beer. But with this abundance of beer, where do you start? How do you know what you would like? Well, luckily, knowing about beer can help you to figure out what you might like. So I personally did not like beer previously, and then I started trying a lot of different things. As I tried more, I started to see what I liked, but knowing more about beer probably would have helped ahead of time. So beer is a really complex beverage with a lot of possibilities to appease every tasting palate. So today I'm going to discuss a couple things. I'm going to discuss the two main categories of beer, the differences between those beers, and how to discover what you might like. So, to begin, I'm going to talk about the two main types with a few exceptions. So, the first example is a lager. So, a lager is a very cold beer. It's typically lighter and crisper in body. Some subtypes of this that you might find are dark lagers, pale lagers, pilsners, and bocks. Some brands that are out there that exemplify some of these are Budweiser, Heineken, Sam Adams, and Yuengling. The second type is an ale. So an ale is typically fuller, it's more complex body. It also has a fruity or herbal taste, and sometimes it's bitter. Some examples of these would be stouts, porters, pale ales, Belgians, sours, wheats, browns. There's a lot of ales out there, a lot more than lagers. Some brands that are familiar that would be ales are Blue Moon, Fat Tire, Guinness, and a lot of the craft beer varieties that exist in the world. So like I mentioned, there are a few exceptions to this. So there are some subtypes of these two that are neither a lager or an ale, but rather they could be both. So some examples could be ambers or specialty beers such as brandy wine, or seasonal beers like pumpkin beer. Some can be mixes also, which an example of that would be an India Pale Lager instead of an India Pale Ale. So that's one that is both a lager and an ale. It falls in either family. So now that you know a little bit about the types of beer, I'm going to talk about how they're made. So the main flavor difference within a lager and an ale actually comes from the yeast and how it's prepared. So in a lager, the yeast that is used is called S. pastorianus, and this is actually a hybrid yeast of two that came together and formed this new yeast. It's typically fermented cold in a vat within colder conditions. The fermentation actually takes place at the bottom of the vat, that's where the yeast rests. And then after it's fermented, it's actually cold conditioned. So that means that it stays within a cavern or something for a period of weeks or months, depending on the beer. So with a lager, you think low and slow. That's how it's created. And as a result, that's how you get the crisp, carbonated taste of a lager. Now with an ale, it's called S. cerevisiae. That's the yeast that's used for that one. So this one is actually created in warm conditions within the vat. And then the yeast actually is at the top. So the yeast ferments at the top instead of the bottom. And this style of yeast is actually a little bit more wild. It adapts to its environment a little bit better than a lager does, so it can change, which is kind of interesting. And that's where you get the bitter aromatic taste of an ale that you don't have in a lager. All right, so lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about how to discover maybe what you might like in a beer. If you understand the differences in flavor between the two, it can help you discover what you like. So, for example, it really narrows it down. If you know that you like an ale compared to a lager, then you're going to look within the ale family to find a beer that you would enjoy. Also, you can select based on flavors or beverage types that you already enjoy. So, for example, if you like strong beverages such as coffee, you're going to look in the ale family and you can find a stout or a porter. If you like sour, bitter flavors like yogurt, you're going to look at a sour beer within the ale family. Now, if you like something more smooth and mellow, you're going to go with a bock, which is in the lager family. And if you like carbonation, you are also going to go in the lager family. And so you could find a pale lager, for example, would be a good one to look at for that. So just to kind of wrap up everything that I've said, there are two main types of beers, ales and lagers. The flavor differences between those two exist due to the yeast used and how it's prepared. And understanding the differences can help you to figure out which type of beer that you might like. So beer really is a complex beverage, but with a lot of possibilities to appease most tasting palates. I hope that by learning a little bit about beer, you can discover what you like. Thank you. And I hit the time.